Okay, so now we go to Scorpios. It's the eighth sign of the zodiac, and has a correlation with the eighth house technically. And the eighth house has a lot to do with our partner's possession, and this is because Scorpios tends to be very, very fixated. Um, can be very selfish, and I have to admit that, even though that uh, I have my son in Scorpio. So I am a very Scorpio person. So Scorpio has a lot to do with possessiveness, and as a fixed sign, they have an issue with attachment. It's not easy to detach. Just the same with Leo as well. They have an issue with detachment because they tend to cling to whatever it is that they desire and want. And speaking of desire, you would also notice that most of the time they are being linked to I desire or I create. I've seen and read a lot of books, some saying I desire, some saying I create, but I kind of feel that it works both ways. It's the same because Scorpios have a lot of desire. They're known to be like the sign of desires because Scorpio is the sign of sex, the sign of rebirth, the sign of wanting, possessing, and it is the sign very much related to mystery as well. They are the sign that is related to our respiratory system, the ovaries, and the sex organs basically. And it has a relation to giving birth. So it is technically I create. And also there are three types of Scorpios, and this is why it's kind of one of the most profound signs because it is a sign that can affect you in a lot of areas like physically, emotionally, mentally, and personally, I kind of feel that at times it can affect you spiritually because it has a lot to do with the soul. So it's kind of hard because you would notice that a lot of people, when they fall in love to a Scorpio, it's as if they are seeing the other person passing by the naked eye. I remember having an encounter with another Scorpio and I felt as if I'm naked in front of that person. Not physically naked, but more of the way that the other person stared at me, look at me. It's as if he sees through me, but not in a way that is judgmental. It's just, it's just a very magnetic kind of a connection. you know, it has that form of intensity. That is why you would notice that with Scorpios, everything's just intense. So intense to the point that there is no in between with Scorpios. Either black or white, yes or no. Are you going or not going? No, there is no middle ground when it comes to Scorpios. It has to be all out. So a very Scorpio person, when it comes to relationship, it's either they are going to be all out to that person or they just won't care. There's no middle ground. And for most of the time, it's an all or nothing, me against the world kind of a relationship setup, which can cause a lot of friction and a lot of problematic situation for Scorpios as a whole. And Scorpios are very reserved people. So it's not easy for you guys to get close to them. And we are speaking about Scorpio Sun is Scorpio type of people because as you all know, your ascendant, your moon can actually blend into your sun and can create some form of changes to the personality of the person. But generally, it's not so easy to get close to a Scorpio because they always build walls between them and the other person. And at times, if they don't feel you, they don't feel your vibes, they feel that you're not that of a good person, or intuitively, they're very, very intuitive people. So intuitively, if they sense something from you, they tend to put their guards up, that sort of stuff. And a very mysterious sign can be very much of a, it makes other people feel crazy, technically, because they just don't know what's on your mind, they don't know what you want, so it tends to confuse people. But at the same time, that's also the reason why they are so hooked on you. Because let us admit the fact that a lot of people are challenged by this kind of a Scorpio nature. It's as if they are trying to sort of all the pieces of the puzzle and wanting to know everything about you, and you're not just giving away any information. And also, um, it's kind of hard when it comes to relationships because you would notice that the man or the woman always gives you a lot of tests that you have to prove yourself, that I should love you, or you have to prove yourself to me before I can give something for you. It's a way of the Scorpios to protect themselves, but but at the same time, it's really more about having to do with respect, because respect is such a big deal for a lot of Scorpios. Scorpio has a lot to do with jealousy as well, so they tend to resent people, even their family members at times, when things does not work on the way that they wanted it to, especially if they have siblings. It's easy for them to get jealous, um, things like that. And they do have a sharp tongue, really, really sharp tongue, especially if they're Scorpio ascendant or moon actually. They tend to have a sharp tongue because they tend to, pass judgment on other people most of the time. And sometimes they are correct. They are correct on what they are perceiving on other people, but ethic wise and manners wise, you don't really have to say it. But Scorpios would not care so much about what other would think about them. They are kind of a lone wolf kind of people as well. So yeah, and Scorpio is the sign of sex. So any sex with a Scorpio is just going to be, off the charge, off the chart. And it's just, you know, mind blowing, crazy, and sometimes a very spiritual experience as well. And believe it or not, sex can be very spiritual, especially if you are with your twin flame or with your soulmate, or if you don't believe that, I guess with someone that you're really, really compatible with physically, probably spiritually and emotionally. So I have mentioned earlier that there are three types of Scorpios. I tend to tell my friends Scorpios are really, really good. I mean, if I would be given a chance, I would want Scorpio to be a partner of mine. Well, I did have one in the past, um, but I've noticed that with Scorpios, you either get to meet a very psychotic and crazy Scorpio, or someone that's very good and intense someone that you would want to keep despite the little bit of craziness here and there. Because, some Scorpios would find pleasure in stinging people. Again, Scorpions sting. And sometimes, and most of the time actually, um, you just don't expect it. It comes in, unexpectedly. And of course, when you are sting, it really hurts. Hurts to the core, to the point that at times it can be very traumatic for some people as well. Another type is, someone that would seek adventure. Sometimes it gets a bit too much. It's just like an eagle that flies towards the sun. But if you get closer to the sun, you get burned down. And when you burn down, it's death for you. But there are another type of Scorpio, which is the phoenix. And from the ashes, it rise up again and fly. So it gets reborn, rebirth. So these are the types of Scorpios that you meet, and sometimes you get to meet only the type of wants to sting people. Sometimes it's only the type that wants adventure, and sometimes you get all both. And a very developed Scorpio would have all these qualities. You know, there will be times that they will sting people, at times that it will be very, very adventurous, but would know when to step back because they have already experienced the feeling of burning down to ashes. Those kinds of stuff. A lot of Scorpios tends to avoid responsibilities, and if possible, they're gonna run away, poof, with responsibilities. So you would notice, and I have noticed in reading charts, um, when a woman is dealing with a Scorpio person, the issue is really more about the other person running away. The other person cannot be read. They cannot find the answers in a very logical sense because Scorpios are not logical people. They're more intuitive type of people. So yeah, um, they are very powerful, but something of too much is never great. Something of too much is never great. And for Scorpios, when they use their power to heal other people, to help other people, that is the time that happiness comes to them. And the funny thing is that they tend to be really, really selfish. So most of the time, their partnerships with other people, relationships, one on one, or even marriages are not so happy. They will become happy if they become a phoenix, being of help to others and stop being selfish and start becoming more of a selfless kind of a person. Then they'll become happy with marriages and partnerships. And in most cases as well, uh, um, let me see, I just lost my mind for that second. Oh yeah, in most cases, even though that most of the time they are quite of a selfish person, marriages and partnerships are very important to them. You know, at times I can be very possessive. At times I just won't care. But deep within myself, I know this partnership, this person is important to me. It has that kind of feeling to them. Also, Scorpios are a water sign, so they have a lot of emotion boiling inside of them. But they are not the type of people that will, shout to the world what they are feeling. So everything is being just inside of them. It's not easy for a Scorpio to trust because they know themselves the feeling of being betrayed. And if you would notice, um, especially if your Scorpio is also at your eighth house, then you would know that in your past you have encountered a lot of betrayals in your life, and that is why you are used to all things negative in dealing with people and dealing with partners, possession, material possession, those kinds of stuff. People tend to link, especially with other astrologers, when doing horary astrology. It's an ancient way to do predictions or giving you answers to your questions. So they would link Scorpios to death, to something that was lost, something that was hidden. All the negative things are being linked to Scorpios, especially the eighth degree, because it is the sign of the Scorpio. So yeah, did I miss out something else? So because of their aura and because of them being used to being alone, being used to be a lone wolf, they do things by themselves, and they find it hard to cooperate with other people. So one of the lessons right there with a lot of Scorpios is learning to cooperate, give and take. The flow of the relationship being done in the right, balanced, and correct way. So yeah, that's it for Scorpios. They're very magnetic people, very sensual, and I don't know if you noticed it, guys, but if you are a Scorpio ascendant, or having the physical qualities of a Scorpio, there is something about them that you will feel to be enticed about. Maybe they are fat, maybe they are, some darker color, maybe they're not the type of people that you want to date with. And it's not me trying to judge what other people would look like, but um, what I'm saying is, in other people's point of view, maybe that is not the type of person that they're gonna date, but if it has that Scorpio kind of physical nature, regardless on what their preferences in dating someone, they'll be attracted to that person, probably sexually, magnetically, anything. There is just some form of urge that is burning in them, maybe some form of passion. Something is being triggered and being drawn to that person. It's just like, there's a lot of celebrities, try to wear tends to wear boyish kind of look, or something that's very rebel like, but at the same time you still find it sexy. But there are times when another person wears that, and if they don't have that scorpionic nature to them, you you won't have the same feeling, the same effect to that person. Probably they don't have a Scorpio in their chart, or, well, that's not possible. Everyone has a Scorpio in their chart, but maybe their Scorpio in their chart is not really that much of powerful. They are more on the sweet side, not in the boyish kind of a frame of a Scorpio look or aura. So at times it's just not going to be the same. So that feeling, that aura, that magnetic nature to them, you just cannot explain, but you find yourself being drawn to them, and that's all Scorpio. It's very mysterious. It's a mystery, something that's unknown, but you're drawn to that person anyway. So that's Scorpio.